Welcome to All in One, ladies and gentlemen. This is the podcast where we keep it real, we keep it authentic. Today we have a new member of the panel, and we're going to go ahead and introduce her, and then we're going to go ahead and jump right into the topics. And today's topic is going to be trigger responses, triggered and trapped. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Miss Arya, and go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know what you're all about here.
Hey guys, I'm Arya. I'm so excited to join this podcast. Been wanting to do this for a while, so just to get into it, I'm a teacher. I'm a middle school teacher, so I deal with all of the different personality traits that can come into this world. It starts off when you're in middle school because that's when all of your hormones start coming in, and so your brain starts really functioning, and it tells you like who you are going to be as an individual. So I'm that person that kind of guides you to help you see things through educationally, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So I'm super excited to start this.
All right. All right. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. So, again, we're going to go ahead and jump right into our subjects here. So, we're talking about trigger responses, things that you may not recognize that is an actual trigger to you. Why these things, why you behave in a certain manner, certain things that you may say based upon what someone said to you. So first and foremost, you want to go ahead and identify or at least define what a trauma is. And for those that are kind of new to it or maybe just don't realize what it is. So, trauma can come from almost any place, and what can be traumatizing to it is subjective. Let's go ahead and say that up front. What's traumatizing to someone may not necessarily be traumatizing to someone else. It's that event that happened in your life that makes you kind of that changes your trajectory, if you will. It's one of those major events. Death in the family could be one. Especially if you was close to that relative. It could be anything. A loss of a person. I'm saying, it could be even something as simple as a breakup. It could be something as triggering as SA or saying DV. It comes in several different forms, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how we respond to certain things based upon how our environment has shaped us, if you will. So without further ado, does anyone want to go first, or do you guys want me to go ahead and
I actually want to jump on this because not to say that my trauma is different or more than others. But I do have a lot of experience when it comes to trauma, dealing with it myself from DV to SA and even further than that. One of the things that I can say is I recently started actually processing some of the things that I've actually dealt with. I started dealing with things, I want to say, when I was, as far as I can remember, being like 4 or 5 years old, all the way up to the age of 24 was like the last time that I had to deal with any kind of trauma in that form. Um, and it's definitely something that can affect the decisions that you make, the relationships that you build. It's something that affects how you even move going from the outside. Because now, due to a lot of the triggers and a lot of the assaults that I've had to deal with, that trauma led into I can't even go to a concert, or I can't go to a park or something where there's like a lot of people around. I'm always, watching my surroundings probably more than the average person. I don't believe in sitting away from the door when I'm at a restaurant, things like that. So those are my responses to those traumas. Your responses can definitely be different. Anyone can go from the extreme to something as small as just like, oh, I don't want to talk to somebody at that moment. Whatever those trigger responses are, it's definitely your best bet to know what that response is. Once you know and you understand it, then it's easier to move past it. And once you move past it, then you're just a product that can like save other from those traumas that they're facing. It could be something that they're dealing with at their homes. Like I have found, especially since COVID, I can't tell you how many children have just gone over the bridge. Like they just cannot function. They have no clue what to do because of the whole COVID situation, being stuck in their homes and being stuck on computers and, trying to teach from computers was just it was terrible to do. But now that we're back in the classrooms, I'm picking up on different things that the kids are going through. And whether or not they tell me immediately, me knowing body language because I've been through that, me understanding the way that they speak because I've been through that. And because I can pick up on those triggers, I'm able to actually take my students to the side and say, hey, I'm noticing this behavior. And when you're able to give them an example of some of the things that you've gone through, it's it's really a blessing because they now trust you and they feel like they can talk to you and it helps them process those things. Like I had a student once, actually this past school year, I had a student once who was, if I can say this, cutting herself, self harm. Um, and I've gone through that myself. And I had to talk to her about that. And just me explaining my story to her was a game changer. She was like, wow, I can't believe like you of all people, because they see me as this bubbly, goofy, I'm the science teacher. I'm supposed to be fun. so so they see me as this like fun, exciting, person. So for her to come to me and I'm telling her my story and she's just like, wait, what? Like you've been through this? Like you've done this? And I tell her all of the ways that I've been able to process and go through those things. And it then I made her promise me to do check-ins. So we started doing check-ins and she just got better and better. She was like, you have no idea, just talking to you just really changed a lot in me. And it's just a proud moment. So making sure that you actually do pay attention to your triggers and going forward to like help yourself can help somebody else, save somebody else. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. And I do empathize with you. You know, but it's good to see that you were able to overcome. What I'm saying, and make yourself healed and healed yourself, I should say, because we all know that takes time, that takes effort. It doesn't happen overnight. Going back to some of the things that you were saying here, one of the things that I do wanted to state was that from what I've experienced and what I've noticed is that people want help, they just don't know how to ask for that help. So it's like, and we have to understand that the generations have changed. We're not like it used to be back in the days where we had Big Mama in the house, saying grandmama, Big Mama, and people that would actually sit down with you to ensure that your well-being was well taken care of. Nowadays, you're pretty much fending for yourself, or you're raised by the television, or God forbid, you're out in the streets. And excuse me, it's like I said, people just don't know how to ask for the help. But if you can recognize that they need that help and you step up, then saying kudos to you, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people won't step in when they see these things. It's like, it's not my child, not my business, not my problem, and then they keep it moving. When that child, that individual, it doesn't necessarily have to be a child. It can be a grown, an adult. And when they need that assistance and don't know how to ask for it, but if notice the signs, then you can actually, go in and help out as much as you possibly can.
Right.
Um, Going back to the trauma responses, there's four major categories of trauma responses according to the experts. We call it fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most people get triggered instantly, and what they'll end up wanting to do is become hostile. They'll be combative, what I'm saying? Anything that they can possibly do to try to get the spotlight off of whatever the real issue is. They become, what I'm saying? Oh my God, it's so subjective. I look at There's a statement that I normally say to people, and they look at me crazy every time I say it. So I don't assume that it's going to go any differently this time. I tell people that the same water that hardens the egg will also soften the potato. It's like, what? Like, what does that mean? Well, it all depends on how you react to your environment.
Mm-hmm.
Using a using another analogy is like going to prison, going to jail. Uh, Jail being that environment that changes people, because one person can go in and they were kind of soft when they went in and comes back out hardened. And then you have other people who were really hardened when they went in, and they may come out a little bit softer. What I'm saying, spirits broken, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, responses to certain things. I look back in my childhood, and one of the things that I had the hardest time coping with was, just being a young male and being chastised, being berated, always being silenced, because I was one of those curious children, I always wanted to know why. I'm questioning everything because certain things just didn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to get a grasp on it. But when you're dealing with people who can't take the time to explain it, maybe because they didn't know it themselves, or just frustrated because they didn't want to be bothered, then what ends up, they react, and then you kind of come into the shell, if you will, where you kind of just shut down and you don't really ask the questions that you should be asking. You don't really say anything anymore. And that is a trauma response. Um, because you don't really know. That's where you go into this I don't really know how to actually say it. I guess it will fall under freezing, where you disassociate, where you just kind of just won't say anything to anyone, won't do anything for anyone, just stay to yourself. And it took me a while to realize that I actually do that. Like, I avoid conflict, not because I'm afraid of conflict. I just don't want to deal with it. And it was always easier to just shrink away and just let it be. Well, don't, if it didn't bother me, so what? So, what I'm saying, nowadays, the man that I've grown into, I'm very vocal, and I also speak out. Um, I was in school just last year, and I went to an audio engineering school here in Atlanta. And, I got a chance to be around some of the younger guys, very talented younger guys, but you can just tell that they're lost, that they had no guidance, So I would actually speak to them. Hey, nephew, let me holler at you for a second, just because I saw something within them as well, and just trying to get to the root cause, like, just chop it up with them, talk to them, talk, not talk at them, kind of help them, what I'm saying, go along. But at this point, I'm rambling, so I'm going to land my plane here. Um, Loki, you got anything?
Yeah,
Or
I actually do, and it's like I heard both of y'all, and it's like I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, I, during my little living, I haven't really been through anything of that nature. You know what I mean? I just sit on the outside and look in, and I've seen people who have, growing up, and they aren't the same person that they were when I first met them. And it's like you can tell during certain like actions and reactions of theirs of how they do things, they're more quicker and intenser with, their actions. And you can tell because it's like it's a certain energy they give off that, don't mess with me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You walk, almost look like they're walking on eggshells. And so it's like my friend, who I call a good friend, and it's um it ruined her. You know what I'm saying? Like she was nowhere near the same. Like the happy go lucky type of person she used to be to that time and point of moment of what happened and how it happened and the way it did. And you know what I'm saying? She went to counseling for that for years. But the thing about it is I don't even think counseling really worked like it was supposed to. And I ain't even gonna lie, I didn't know what to think about it, you know what I'm saying? Because on the cool, she never said anything to me about it. So it's like, how would I help her with her problem? Because if I call you my friend, then I'm gonna ride for you with you and all the way to the end. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? And even though you can tell she looked like she would like to say something, but it's like especially when, so she do not like people standing behind her in no form or fashion. And so it's just a lot. And so, uh, you got it.
I get that. Appreciate it. I get that. You know, again, they respond differently. You know what I mean? Everyone is going to respond differently, depending on the individual, how strong that individual is, and whether or not they're able to just release certain things, or if they're the type of person that internalizes everything and overthinks. When it comes down to counseling, you have to understand that counseling is a two-way street. The counselor will give you the tools that you need to try to help yourself. But again, you must help yourself. The tools are no good if you don't apply them. If you're just sitting here looking at it, but you're not really
Focused.
comprehending right what is actually trying to get you to do. Um, as you recall, there was some material that I told you once before that I wanted you to look at,
Correct.
and it sat there for a while. I can't pressure you into doing it. I know you need this, but when you're ready, it's there for you. And when you finally got around to it, you were like, hey, look, these tools help me, you know. Um, but again, it's like that counseling piece. It's great to talk to somebody. It's great to have somebody listen. And that's a whole nother subject for a whole different podcast because there's active listening and then there's passive listening, you know. And so it's great to have somebody listen to you to understand what it is what you're saying to them. But how are they aiding and assisting you with getting better? You know, what are you doing for yourself to go ahead and to get over that hump, to get over that hurdle and move forward, propel yourself forward? It's a lot to it. You can't just sit here and go talk for that hour, 30 minutes, or whatever it is that's scheduled and think you're going to be healed. You got to get in there and do that shadow work. And on that, I'll land my plane.
So we have you. I see you with your hand up. What would you like to say? or add on to?
Yeah, I just wanted to stand in agreement with the what Uncle was saying about the counseling. I do also want to say that it does the other work that you need to put in is also making sure that you're talking to the right person. I can't tell you how many times I have had to switch my counselors. And it literally had nothing to do with them or me. It was mutually just like, we are not a match. You are not vibing with me. You are not listening to me. You are not understanding me or comprehending anything that I'm saying to you. So I need to move on and go to somebody else that can really give me what I need. When I lost my father, that was probably, honestly, as much as I've gone through other assaults and things of that nature, when I lost my dad, I took that way harder than someone touching me. Like, that for me was just like, it's one thing to touch me and take something from my person, but to physically take a person away from me that's giving me what I need to survive and live and is my motivation to even still be here, like, that was hard. So I did go in silence. I went in silence. I did not want to be here. I was self-sabotaging, like, I cut everyone out. I even cut my own mom out. I did not answer my phones. Friends would try to call me, text me, and things of that nature. They had to actually call someone to come to my apartment just to see if I was even breathing, to do like a welfare check, because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't care to talk to anybody. No one meant anything to me at this point. And I went through so many counselors trying to explain and talk to them about what I'm actually feeling with losing my father. And they had no idea. Some people kind of have to even, they might have to even go through it to be able to, help you. But whether or not you talk to someone that has gone through what you've gone through or not, they must have the tools. And if you are actually putting in that work and trying to get through your trauma with this individual and they're actually doing what they're supposed to do, then yes, it will legitimately work. It will legitimately work. It's going to be a lot of homework and due diligence on your end. But ultimately the end result is healing. Now that doesn't mean that you're gonna forget the feelings or that you're gonna be, you'll never feel sad. Like, I still have moments when I cry about my dad. Like, I just graduated with another degree and he was there for my first degree, but it was something that I really didn't care to do. Like, I didn't think like, oh, I want to be a teacher. This is so exciting. To me, teaching is like a trade. So it's like, no matter what happens, if you don't get the actual career that you want, you can always fall back on teaching. And so that's how I end up teaching. But now that I'm an animal scientist, a wildlife biologist. This is something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little girl. And for me to actually reach this moment, and he's not even here with me, I was bawling going across the stage. Like, I'm literally going back to my chair and I'm just like sitting there crying. And like all of my peers, they're sitting next to me and they're like, oh my God, don't cry. I'm gonna cry too. So you're gonna have your moments where you're still in it and you still like feel it, but you still have that healing. You don't linger in it and you don't stay in it. And that is showing growth.
Right on. Right on. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying, and that hits in so many bases because everyone can reminisce and remember when their favorite loved one, you know what I'm saying, just so happened to have left. And the impact that it had on them was such a profound issue to the point to where sometimes is some people take it a little bit harder than others, and some people take it just a little bit softer. Some depending on the bond that they shared with that said person. And so it's like my auntie, you know what I'm saying? My aunt Diane, she was the most outgoingest person I have ever met. and like she could always make you happy when you on your low. I'm talking about the lowest, and it's like, wow, you know what I mean? And not to have her around at the times I do feel low, even from the smallest things when I used to remember, even if I was to, how can I say it? I was playing outside and look, you know what I'm saying? Must have ran into the sticky bush. Man, when they had to pull them little prickly things about on the bum side, and I was like, Lord, I could not stop crying. Couldn't sit down either. I had to lay on my front. I couldn't lay on my back. And she was the one that was picking it out. But while she was picking it out, she was talking mad shit. I'm talking about like a whole cash money. Like, oh, you could not stop laughing. You know what I mean? No matter how much it hurt real bad. Like for real, for real. She was picking them out hard too. And it was like, wow. But she was like, she like, I bet you gonna jump in that bush again. I bet you'll stay away from that like we told you to already. Yeah, you once you learn, you know what I'm saying? But once you learn, you become more aware, I feel. It becomes much more understandable. So that way, if you see someone else going through what you've been through, now that you know what you done been through, after you can got past it, are you really ready to help someone? Or is that even negotiable? Will that person even listen? Will you try? Or how can I put it? Will they receive what you're trying to give? Or will they understand what you're trying to give? So to understand to the fact of the matter of them, you know, actually opening back up to you to, I guess, take it all in, and I land my plane. Unc, I see you got your hand up.
Right, roger that, roger that. So once you recognize your traumas and once you've actually been able to start your healing process, can't say that you actually finished that process because it is a ongoing, it's ongoing process. Just call it what it is, you know.
Correct.
Every day you find out that, oh, I thought I healed that, and you realize, hey, I didn't. You got triggered by something else that was similar to something that always, seemed to trigger you. But when do you start helping people? As soon as you can, because as you help yourself, as you're helping them, you're actually helping yourself as well. And so it brings me back to that old phrase where each one teach one, right? What I'm saying? We can do this all day. Knowledge is power, but only when it's shared. You know, we if you sit here and you can recognize when somebody is not healed and you say nothing, then you are literally part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Um, if you know and if you feel compelled to say something, then say something. Just make sure that you package whatever it is that you have to say in the proper manner so that it is received properly. Because you can, as I stated before, you can be right, but it's better to be more correct than right. You know what I'm saying? So when you deliver that message, don't talk at someone. You talk to them. You speak to them in a manner, you soften your stance, so that you can speak to them in a manner in which they are ready to receive. Um, it's just, it's a matter of not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. Uh, you can tell somebody that they ate up and they shouldn't be doing certain things, but don't say it in that manner. Like I told you before, plant the seed. Hey, did you think about, you might want to think about doing this, or, so tell me what you think about this when what I'm saying, when going through your plan or whatever the case. I'm mumbling right now, but you guys understand the gist of what I'm trying to say. Um, so you look at your traumas and your trauma responses, and I look at mine as like, how am I responding to people? How am I responding in relationships? How am I responding to family based upon things that I've gone through? Or do I just not? I'm the same way. I've cut a lot of people off within the last 2 years. You know, it's like, don't take phone calls, won't return a text message. I will leave you on red. I will not block you. I want you to see that I actually read and I'm still not responding. It's like, leave me alone. I'm not dealing with you at this point. You know, it just is what it is.
Mhm.
If I don't deal with you, you know what you did to me to make me not deal with you. I don't need to address it. You know what it is. You can tell people whatever it is you want to tell them, but you and I know what's going on. You know. Um, but again, you know what I'm saying? I look at it from my responses. How do I respond to certain things? And I'm looking at it like, okay, was that a trauma response? Or was I, am I protecting myself? You know, because there's a fine line between the two of those. Do I shut down because I don't want to get to that next level? Or do I shut down because what you said wasn't worth a conversation and I'm just walking away from it? You know, I look at things and I'm wondering again, am I protecting myself right now? Or am I just repeating a pattern that I've done, that I've learned to do, that helped me to survive whatever it was that I went through? And on that note, for now, I will land my plane.
I'll jump in. I think protecting your peace is important. Because at the end of the day, we no one knows how long we're supposed to be here, So let's just for giggles say that we're supposed to be here 80 years, okay? And we're 40 years old. Well, okay, half of our lives are gone. So what do you want to do with the rest of the 40 years that you have left on this earth? Are you going to sit here and allow people to affect your peace, or are you going to protect your peace at all costs? Because they don't live your life. They are not with you all the time. If you need someone to help you, last minute, are they really going to be there to be the ones that's going to pick up the pieces for you? If you hurt yourself, God forbid, end up in the hospital, now you need assistance, are those people going to be there to help you with the assistance that you need? And if not, then those are the people that have to go. So you have to figure out who's actually helping you protect your peace, and you have to protect your peace on your own. You have to stand on that. It's boundaries. That's the word I'm looking for. It's boundaries. Giving yourself boundaries, saying this is what I will deal with. This is what I refuse to deal with. And when you say that you refuse to deal with it, stick to your boundaries. Don't let anyone cross over those boundaries, because once they cross over, please believe they will continue to do that. Continue to do that. Loki, I see your hand up.
Yeah. So when you say uh peace, some people actually, I believe, don't understand as in what real peace actually is. If we may take a second to kind of break it down from our own perspective, if you don't mind, and can we expound upon that? Can is there a little bit uh more?
Like, is there more to it? Like, what does it actually
Yeah,
mean to keep your own peace?
yes. What is the word, like the actual word peace? Because I feel peace is more of a, I'm not stressed in any type of form or fashion. I
Mhm.
feel that I know myself well enough to where I can act and be the person that I always have been and wanted to be. And so therefore I feel like, to me, peace is basically bringing a form of heaven to earth in your own way, And so it's like, you can we can run around here and say, you're not gonna disturb the peace, but then are we actually in peace when we're hollering about peace? When we've said that we're not gonna let no one else, you know what I'm saying, mess
Hmm.
over the boundaries of it. And so, how do you know when you are in it when you trying to be of it? If you understand what I'm trying to portray.
Well, I would say that peace, for me, when I speak of peace, I speak of calmness, of
Okay.
quiet. I speak of you are actually in yourself, wholeheartedly loving yourself. You are happy. You are content with life. That there is nothing that anyone can say or do to break that. Now, once someone step over those lines and they break that for you from you, then that is breaking your peace. Because when you are at peace, nothing bothers you. Nothing is going to bother you. Nothing can harm you because you're like, you know what? I wash my hands of that situation. I'm not going to deal with that situation. I'm going to keep it moving. You know, if you believe in God, put it in the hands of God or put it in the hands of whoever you believe in, the universe, and say deuces. Because at the end of the day, I know what I have to deal with. I know what I'm not going to stress over. I can be silent. I can walk away from it. I don't have to even engage in the conversation with it. That is me holding my peace.
That part. So, and that's exactly what I was gonna say as well. And I saw you, Loki. Give me just a second here.
Take your time.
Drama free was one of the things that I wrote down. Your tone will tell you whether or not you're at peace. If you like, for me, I like to think that I'm at peace. So the tone of my voice is calm, it's peaceful, it's serene. Carefree, doing what
Mm,
I doing what I love to do, and don't care who says what about it. I don't. You know why? Because you don't pay my bills. You don't take care of my
that
bills.
part.
I don't care what you think. Attach your opinion to one of these bills, and then we can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe I might consider what you have to say. 9 times out of 10, 11
Really,
times out of
but
10,
yeah.
I'm not. But if you want to feel that way, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't care. So being at peace to me is just what Arya said, bro. It's like it doesn't matter what anybody says. You know what I'm saying? You know who you are.
Hmm.
You know what you're capable of accomplishing. And if for somebody to say, "Well, I don't think you're gonna do that," okay, I should give a thought and then not think. You know what I'm saying? I don't care, bro. It doesn't matter what you think about me. I don't care because I'm going to continue to live my life the way that I see fit. I'm not trying to appease anyone anymore. And that's one of those other traits, those trauma responses, is people pleasing. And a lot of times people don't understand that they do things to get that validation from other people. And when you are truly at peace, you don't care about their opinion. So I don't need your validation. I'm valid.
I'm validating myself.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I stood on that. So for now, I will land my plane. But you know me, I got a lot to say, bro.
Well, I ain't even gonna lie. You kind of hit my point of what I wanted to present. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just you said it. You couldn't say it no better than I. All on point.
Mhm.
And so now, now I want to get to if you don't mind. I I had a friend. He is I think he is like 20 some odd years old. And
24.
y'all, okay, right on, thank you. And he was actually, how many people have you ever known, like growing up, do you know what a superhero is? What is a superhero in your eyes? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. Before I started watching superhero movies and all of that type of stuff, I used to always think my mama was a superhero for me, and it it's the reason why I give the utmost respect to every woman, no matter the color, size, or however you see fit. You know what I'm saying? A woman will always be a woman. You know what I'm saying? They are the womb holders. They are the people that sit at the top, of the pyramid to me. And so by saying that, it says a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like when you meet someone who actually, if you seen somebody getting mugged, what would you do if y'all mind me asking?
Call 911.
Someone please call 911.
Pull out your phone and start recording. Give them evidence that they just got mugged. I mean, I'm not jumping in that. Me personally, I'm not putting my life on the line no more. I did that for 24 years. I'm through with that. I'm no longer a superhero. I don't don a
Okay,
cape anymore.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
my life
Well,
is
I.
my life is precious to me.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I would sit around and just watch something happen to someone. I'm not going to allow, what I'm saying? But at the same time, you have to be cautious of where you put your nose, especially if it's not really your concern. There's, as Arya stated, call 911. And that's pretty much all you really need to do. Don't put yourself in harm's way trying to save somebody that you don't know because you don't know what that person did. And even if they are being dragged across the concrete, you don't know what they did. You don't know what they said. You know what I'm saying? And you involve yourself into some stuff. I mean, there are certain things that you can do, especially if you do it in groups. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, but if you one on one and somebody let's put it to you like this right here.
Mhm.
If a male is you know what I'm saying, doing something to, you know what I'm saying, domestic violence to a female, and I am in close proximity, then 9 times out of 10 I will probably try to stop that, reason with him, and not just go over that with an attitude. You know what I mean? It
Correct.
depends on how you approach that situation, because if he is actually using a weapon against her, or
Now,
you know what I'm saying, use your brain.
right
You have to you
now,
have to you have to use your brain
right.
before you put yourself in harm's way, especially if you are not trained to do so. Um, my
I
bad.
think that's a key word that you just said. Training.
Right.
Training. That's important.
You know,
Correct.
um,
And see, the reason why I brought this up was because I had a very good friend. He seen someone getting mugged, and he did not even think. He didn't even, give 2 seconds to think about his own well-being. You know what I'm saying? He jumped in the line of fire for a whole person that he didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? And I might have been playing with him, you know what I'm saying? But I had to give him the utmost respect because he did what I would have done, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is I feel like Captain David, I really appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And I hope, that the person that you say that will listen to this, you know what I'm saying, and let her find you and tell you thank you. You know what I'm saying? And if she don't, I will tell you myself, thank you, my brother. Because if you wouldn't have stood in and stood up, and because you did, you got stabbed 3 times, you know what I'm saying? In the chest, you know what I'm saying? And in the arm and in the leg. And then from what you told me, you even had, you know what I'm saying, a piece of the knife stuck off in your arm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care what nobody say, brother man, you will always have respect from me anytime. Real talk. because that's the definition of a real hero to me. Someone who is willing to put their life in jeopardy to save another just for just for the smallest anything, you know what I'm saying, of trouble. Thank you, my brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the same time, he took some injuries
Yeah.
and they'll probably be back together next week. So these are the type of things that you have to look at, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like for me personally, I say that jokingly. So, um, but at the same time, is your safety worth someone else's safety? Is self-preservation a topic of discussion for you at that point? Do you have any thought process or do you just react? I say that because in the military, they train us. Listen to the key word that I said there. They train us to react.
Mhm.
No thought process whatsoever. You've done this drill so many times, it's innate. It's second nature. It's as simple as breathing. You know how to respond because you train to respond in those certain type of situations. And bro, while what he did was very honorable, it was also reckless. You can look at it from both sides. There are always two sides to a coin. He had no training. He didn't know if that man had something other than that knife. You know what I mean? You do not know, and you must take precaution. Your life, this is not a video game. There are no respawning. You don't come back. You don't get extra lives.
You
It's
don't get
one.
200 pass go.
It's one and done. So you have to be cautious, and you have to make sure that you have proper training. And I'll land my plane there. Go ahead, Arya.
I like that you use the word reckless. Now, granted, I spoke to him myself, um, and just as he was explaining it, it was very like, this is what I do every day. Like it was no like
Yes.
it it was very I don't like
Cavalier.
I'm gonna use this word, but I don't know another word to use. But it was more like childlike mindset because, and I'm not gonna really fault him for it because he's 24. So he is a child technically. He's still like reaching up into that adulthood, he can't even rent a car right now. You have to be 25 to rent a car. So so I'm just saying
Right. Right.
I'm
And
just
so,
saying, so like, and then he was saying this isn't the first time. He's done it before, but he's never had any injuries from doing it before. And so granted, he did go out and you know, he didn't think about it. He just acted on impulse. Impulse, what's the saying? Curiosity killed the cat. You if you're acting on impulse and you're just going out there doing things, that is how you get hurt. And I'm sure he's got, family that cares about him and loves him and all of these things. And if you're gone because you did do something reckless, then that's not okay. That doesn't really, I
justify.
mean, that means you did something that you did think outside of yourself, but it's still at the end of the day is reckless. When you have training and you've actually, been through the fields and stuff like that to know how to deal with situations, and you have no question about your training, by all means, I can see that going a different way. Because if a person comes at you with a knife, you know how to disarm. A person comes at you with a gun, you know how to disarm. A person comes at you with the whoop pow and the kicking, you know how to disarm. But if you're just like, oh my gosh, this lady's in trouble, she's being robbed, I'm gonna jump in. Jump into what?
See,
Really, let's think about it.
sometimes is it I feel like we talk about being one. We talk about unity. We talk about like trying to heal the Americans,
Hmm.
the Americas. And so by us, everyone you hear saying that, but if they see that type of action and don't respond, how can you call yourself the human that you're supposed to be saying that you are if you can't
No,
help the next person beside you?
but not respond low key.
Mhm.
That's not what we're saying. We're saying how you respond. The key
Okay,
word is how you respond. Obviously, we want somebody to respond. We don't want an old lady being robbed by anybody.
correct.
Like, if you are just watching that, then yes, you are more than likely just a not a good
Yeah.
human being. I'm trying to watch my words.
Yeah.
You're just
But I mean,
not a good.
this is a 18 and up. You got to be 21 to get up on here. So we
No,
grown.
I get it. It's still just a me thing. It's just
Got you. Understood.
I'm a role model, so I have to continue to act like it. You know,
Hey, even in inside and outside of
inside and
everywhere.
outside, I'm a role model. So I'm always going to be cautious about what I say and how I say things. But yeah, so it's really just about how you respond to those things. Because when you ask, I was straight up and I was like, I'm
Right.
gonna call 911. I'm
Hey,
gonna be like, I'm on this street, I'm on this way, I see this, I see that. There's a building that looks like this, and there's a lady and there's a guy that's robbing this lady.
yeah.
She's wearing this. He's
Right across the
wearing
street from
this.
Taco Bell.
All of the above. I will
Hey,
give detailed information that can help this lady. Now, we don't know if because I mean, let's face it, a lot of times these little petty theft people, they are not getting ready to actually hurt someone. A lot of times they're not. But he went into defense mode because now, yes, he is robbing this old lady, but he's like, oh, this is an easy target. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go. But instead, it went way south because now you have this big guy who's jumping in on you. And so now he feels like, okay, this is on and popping now. So I'm going to do what I need to do. And now you both are fighting when that probably would have never happened in the first place. She would have got her wallet taken. Okay, hey Chase, Capital One, Bank of America. I was robbed. Cancel my card and send me another one. You know what I'm saying? So the way that you help, you want to be sensible, you want to be smart about it, and you do not want to be reckless because I mean, you don't want other people to think that's okay too. Because if a kid saw you and they're like, "Oh wow, that's a cool thing now," because kids they're very immature. They see things like that and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna do that too,"
wouldn't
and you don't want to
wouldn't
teach
that
them that that's the way that you're supposed to respond. Go ahead.
and so how can we say that we are here to teach the next generation? What does that entail then?
It
Right.
entails giving them safe, logical, and purposeful guidance.
Okay.
You tell them things that make sense to them, such as everything in that purse can be replaced. Your life cannot be. That's sound advice. You know what I'm saying? That's logical advice. Is it cool to stand up for your fellow man, brother, sister? Absolutely. It is within reason because everybody has a family and everybody family wants them to come home. You know what I'm saying? You mean to tell me I could have lost my life for somebody else's purse? And let's be real about it. Women will want, they might actually carry very nice bags. But at the end of the day, Are the items inside of that bag equivalent to the cost of the bag?
Mm.
Probably not. People want a $10,000 bag and got $2.50 and some lip gloss inside of it.
Mhm.
I'm just being honest, bro. Is that really worth your
Right.
life? In the grand scheme of things, is that really worth your life? Is your mama gonna be like, I'm so proud of my son, he lost his life over $2.50 and some lip gloss? No, she's not.
Was it?
She's gonna
Was
have
it?
a trauma response. Getting back on subject, she's gonna end up having a trauma
Here we
response
go.
and start talking about all the things that you should have, could have, would have done had you not made that one decision.
Mhm.
You know, it's not worth it in the long run. The days of captain is over with, bro. Um, Today, what I would tell you, because I understand where you were going with what you said,
Mhm.
but this goes not just for, it goes for everybody across the board. You treat people in the manner in which they show you they want to be treated. All right. You act like a queen, I treat you like a queen. You act like anything else, and I will treat you accordingly. It's the same thing with grown folks. You treat grown folks like grown folks, and they will act accordingly. You treat grown folks like anything other than grown folks, and they will act accordingly. Same statement, two different tones. Did you catch the differences?
Yes.
So it's, I will say, do not, if you have, especially if you have a family,
Mhm.
don't put your life on the line for something that's, one, not even your business, and two, not your business. I'm gonna leave it at that. We're just gonna leave it at that.
Right
I'm
on.
not gonna go there.
Right on.
So
But I just wanted to say that that you know what I'm saying? I understand where y'all coming from and I understand where y'all are going. But I just want to say this one more time. Brother man, you did the right thing. You know what I'm saying? I do want you to know that. Real talk.
anybody else got anything else they want to put out before we do closing?
I just want to say, Captain David, we will always, you know what I'm saying, honor you, my brother. I just had to say that one more time because I just can't stress that enough. I can't stress that enough. You know what I'm saying? And to know that that's my homie. You know what I'm saying? I got a homie. You know what I'm saying? That's a Superman. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. How many people can y'all say that? How many people can you say that about your friends? Just
Superman is
saying.
a man of steel.
Hey,
Man,
hey,
man of steel. I think like the nice break on him. He's not Superman. He's human.
correct. But
He's human. He did a very honorable thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna clown him in a minute though, like everybody else in the hood. But it's like, bro, you went over there to try and help that chick, and did you at least get her phone number? I hope he got her phone number. Did he get a
It was
phone
an
number?
old lady. They didn't even
yeah,
tell in the newsletter. They didn't even tell what his story was. They just said it was a kid that got stabbed. That's it. They didn't even go into the details of why and what happened, the in betweens or anything like that. The news article was very just like blah.
Right.
yeah,
So he didn't even
they
get any. No.
Wow.
okay.
Okay. In that
So
case,
that's the reason why I had to put out. That's the reason why I had to speak upon that subject
Mhm.
because I feel like that's not people don't talk about stuff like that enough. You know what I'm saying? People who actually would do things like that enough. That's all. And I end my plane. And thank y'all, wonderful people, for listening to our story. Thank y'all.
right.
And good night.
We'll end on that. Appreciate y'all for coming through.
Thank you.
As always. See you guys tomorrow. Same time.
All right. Bye, guys.